My wife 30 female and I 33 male have been together for 8 years. Married 5 and D-Day was 2 weeks ago. A little background to make some things a little clearer later on. We were both really into the punk music scene and that's how we met and how we spent a lot of our time. As time went on I lost interest in, grew out of going to concerts and shows, but my wife still enjoys going. So 2 weeks ago there was a concert she wanted to go to. I as usual passed, but she went with some friends of ours and like always I told her to have a good time. Later in the night I get a Snapchat from one of the friends at the concert. It's of the other friend at the bar acting strange with the text over at WTF. I'm a little confused why they sent it to me, but then the camera pans and zooms to my wife talking to a guy and it looks like they are really enjoying each other's company. Nothing physical, just really close talking but very flirtatious looking. I try texting them asking what's going on but I don't get an answer from them. I start texting my wife but also, no answer. I honestly trusted my wife and even though the text over the video was troubling I reassure myself everything is okay and try to get some sleep. But it's not okay. I can barely sleep and if I do happen to doze off I wake up with a tight gut checking my phone for messages but there's nothing. I hear the door open around 4 a.m. along with soft sobbing. I'm in bed at this moment and my heart is pounding. She comes into the bedroom, sits by my side, I'm kind of pretending to be asleep and she shakes me saying we need to talk. She tells me she slept with someone else that night. My whole world literally shattered in the time it took to say that sentence. My blood felt on fire, like I was getting needle pin pricks all over my body. I'm just sitting there in this pain. She reached for my hand and I pulled away. She is crying and says she's sorry, regrets it, remorseful. All that. Because deep down I wanted her to visually see how hurt I am. I ask for details. She tells me they met at the show, talked and hit it off. She said she lost herself and it felt like our first date all over again. I asked about what our friends did. She tells me they tried to pull her away but she lied to them and said he was an old friend and they were catching up. She left the concert with him and went to his place to have sex. After having sex she says she fell asleep for a bit and then woke up feeling what have I just done. She's crying and tells him she has to go and says she cried the entire cab ride back. I start with the how could you, why did you, all that. Her only explanation was she got those first date feelings again and he reminded her of me when we first met. We had a wonderful marriage, lots of affection, communication, love and understanding. She had no issues with the marriage. This was all one big mistake. I know she regrets it. I know how remorseful she is. And that is what hurts the most. I could understand if I was slipping as a husband, if she was unhappy. But everything was fine. She's been very honest with everything, and in the past 2 weeks has taken a lot of shit from friends and family. Every day I can see it on her face how much she wishes she could change the things she did. And how much she wants to reconcile. Yesterday when I woke up, I lay in bed and I was feeling good, must have had a good dream or something, and I thought of all the good we had and how I shouldn't let this ruin our and what we both thought was a great marriage. I was actually kind of smiling and I went to go tell her I want to work on this. But as soon as I saw her it all went away. I'm going to file for divorce. Sorry for the wall of text. I really needed to vent this somewhere instead of screaming it into a pillow. I chopped down details because it was looking too long. Any questions? Go ahead. Edit. While this is getting a bit more attention than I was expecting. Want to thank everyone for the support. To address everyone saying it's only been 2 weeks and I'm rushing into divorce. I hear you. I'm not heading to a lawyer really anytime soon. I was just trying to express my headspace right now. We will be separating first, but I made it clear to her my intentions are divorce. The time apart may do some good for me, but I doubt it. Thinking of our future together, I just don't see myself being able to deal with the baggage and triggers, and my path would be better to start fresh. I cheated on my husband and I feel guilty. Since my husband is on Reddit, I made this account to stay anonymous. So I married my husband 2 years ago and it was all great until after we got married. 2 weeks after we got married, things quickly took a turn for the worst. On the 3rd week after we got married, he got really drunk that he grabbed a knife, threatened me with it, and ripped off my shirt. He then threw me to the ground and spit in my face. Months later, he threatened to shoot me in the head and asked me to give him 3 reasons why I should live. Then one night I could have sworn he was going to kill me. He dragged me all around the house by my shirt and repeatedly kicked me. I had cuts and scrapes all over my body and the next day I could barely walk. Then 1 month later he hurt me so bad I attempted to commit suicide by slicing my wrist. Then later he got arrested for domestic violence. Weeks later I found out I was pregnant. Then when I was pregnant he threw me and I was done. I left. He begged me to go back 1 month later and he promised he would change. I felt lonely, but I had started to talk to this man who I had known prior to getting married. I told him what had happened and he invited me to coffee. I refused because I was pregnant and that was just weird. After my ex begged me for a while, I finally returned. Since last year I have spoken to this man and just 3 weeks ago it started talking to him more. I think I like him. My husband pulled my hair while I had my daughter in my arms 3 weeks ago and something in me snapped. I realized that I was just here because I felt embarrassed that I had been married for so little time that I tried risking my life to save my marriage. I felt awful, but tonight I finally told my husband I'm done with him. I told him I'm done feeling like I'm not good enough and that to him I'm just another shitty person. A part of me felt awful that I was messaging another man, which I would say is cheating because we were flirting. I am no longer scared of him leaving because I now have a good paying job since I graduated college and I know I can take care of me and my little girl. I just feel so guilty that I've been messaging someone and flirting while being married. Me 29 female with my husband 30 male together for 7 years. I cheated on my husband when we were dating 4 years ago and he's still not over it. I cheated on my husband boyfriend at the time of the incident in a very stupid, cruel, and vapid way. I would commute to work about an hour or so away and I reconnected with a friend near where I worked that would bring me chicken sandwiches randomly while I was working or send very cute, charming, flirty texts that made me smile. Anyways, I slept with this flirty nice old acquaintance and my boyfriend husband went through my phone when I was sleeping and found out about the very stupid regrettable decision I made and we broke up for a short while and then got back together and tried to work through it. It is now 4 years later. We were married last year and since then he's had an equally regrettable transgression. Tonight, we were fighting and he brought up the event from my stupid 25th year of life and I'm now in my 29th. I didn't know what to say or do. Can you stay in a relationship when your partner resents you for a mistake you made so long ago? Can you make it work? How can I do anything else other than give him my time, love, and attention to change his resentment towards me? He won't go to therapy. We recently stopped fucking like we used to. Before we were married we had sex daily and now we go for weeks without intimacy. It's been like this for a year. Maybe he feels stuck now that we're married and the resentment is coming out. Do people change and fight when confronted with relationship standardization, routines, forced kindness and comforting each other when it's not always convenient? A feeling of loss of self. I feel helpless. How can I talk to him about this? Every time I bring up my feelings, if they are a bit inconvenient, which let's be honest, if the occasion calls for you to bring up your feelings, it's never going to be that comfortable for all parties involved, right? Anyways, my feelings almost make him turn on me and that's what brought out his mentioning my transgression anyways. I don't know any successful relationships from my life either. My dad was single, my grandma raised me sometimes and my grandpa was dead. All my perceptions of how things should be in a marriage are idealized. Is this just how it goes? Resent and permanence.